So we're here with the two of the three candidates running for Georgetown City Council on the Democratic ticket, Miss Tamika Williams Obeng and Mr. Hobson Henry Milton are here to talk about why they want to seek another term on Georgetown City Council, or for you, Miss Tamika, your first full term on City Council.
Yeah, I just got elected in December and I still have more work to do, so I'm just getting started. And I'm asking for another chance to be reelected, and so I can finish out what I've started.
So, has anything surprised you, that you didn't think was going to be as a council person?
Honestly, no. It's work. It's a lot of work. It's a commitment, and it's definitely been a learning process, and understanding a whole lot more. And I'm excited to continue on the journey, and so I'm just excited to continue where I am.
And Mr. Milton, you're finishing up your first full term on City Council. Why you want another 4 years?
Well, I guess y'all don't think I ain't that bright no way, so I can't be too bright. The hard I got to fight, but because the people still need help, and I think I could do that for the people.
Mm-hmm. And has anything surprised you in your first 4 years as a council person?
Well, not surprised, but I learned that people don't do the right thing, and it's hard for people to do the right thing. I don't understand why it's so hard for people to do the right thing. So no, I'm not surprised. I think if we learn to do the work together and treat people as one, I think the city of Georgetown would be a lot better off.
Now let me ask you, Ms. Tamika, and then I'll ask you about the budget that just passed at the end of June for the year we're in now. $44 million budget. It includes a big increase on utilities, especially electricity. That's what a lot of people have been expressing concerns about. You voted against it, as well as Mr. Milton and Clarence Smalls voted against it. Is that the reason? Was it the utility rates?
That was part of the reason. That was a great reason for me. I think that we should look at ways to streamline the budget and find other ways to work collectively to bring in additional resources. But I think the increase in the utilities, it was a lot at one time. Although it's been explained, that still doesn't take away how the residents feel about 17% increase.
Now, why did you vote against it?
Well, I voted against it because I told them before when we were going back and forth with this, and I don't see why we should have gone up in the light. Now I know we need to do something, but I think we should find a better way of doing it, because we had just come out of COVID-19, and then all of a sudden we come to put all this burden on the back of the people, and I know it was not the right thing to do, and we didn't have to do that at the time.
Now, one thing that we've heard since the budget was being put in place, and that is that the increases were needed because past administrations didn't do increases a little at a time. What do you think when you hear that?
Now, that's what's been stated. Even if it was done maybe 2%, 3% over a period of a couple of years, it would have been reduced. But it seems like the situation that we're in, even if the past administration did do something, I have a strong feeling that we still would have been right where we are now. So it's just an unfortunate situation, but now it's about finding solutions to it and trying to ease or help alleviate that for the residents.
And how do you feel when you hear that it's past administrations to blame?
Well, Scott, you know me. If y'all follow me, y'all like here, I speak up and I tell how I feel about the situation. They keep saying the past didn't do this and didn't do that, but I keep saying, and I'm gonna still say that I believe this. Well, in the past we have never shut down. The city have never shut down, never one time. So whatever they've been doing, they have to be doing something right. Now, get back to, we might need to do some stuff, yeah, but do it so fast? No, you can't do changes so fast. Now, I told them that we could go up on the water and the sewage, but let's leave the light on, because the light been making enough money. They keep talking about the past, but if you look at the past record, the light department always been making money for the city, always paying the bill for the city. So why we had to go up on the light? So I don't buy that story. They keep talking about the past, the past, the past. I think it's not the past the problem. I think the present is the problem.
Now, do you think the city should ever look at selling the electric department or keep it as
Well, I recently had a conversation about that, and from what I was told is due to a grant that was written, I guess, some years ago, a SCIPS grant for infrastructure, that we're in a situation where we can't sell it to Santee Cooper. But again, there are several utility companies throughout the state of South Carolina who have programs to help the residents, possibly a pay-as-you-go program, which would be you prepay for your utilities. That way, it pretty much lets the consumer understand how much energy usage that they're using. So looking at trying to find other alternatives, because 17% is extremely excessive, and it's going to continue to go up. It's not just like that this year, but for years to come. So we have to have short-term solutions as well as long-term solutions. So of course, long-term solutions, I'm for raising property taxes, but short-term, I'd like to see us look at smart meters possibly, and possibly a pay-as-you-go program. So we can actually look at that for renters and private citizens. So that's what I propose.
Okay, how about you? Do you think it's something the city should at least look at selling the electric department or keep it?
That's a no for me. Period. Why would you sell something that make your money? Why would you sell the thing but taking care of the city all the time? That don't make no sense to me. If you sell the light department, you know what kind of burden be in the city then? Because the Duke and anyone of them come in and buy the light department, they're going to come in for a while and they're going to make everybody feel good and give you a good rate and low rate. But once they start going up, nobody will have control. But the city can't come back and take it back from them. And the city ain't going to be getting this other revenue. And so how's the city going to operate? That's not even, I mean, sometimes if you think about some stuff will tell you that don't even make no sense.
I think people say that not really knowing the consequences behind it. So if the city is controlling the utilities now, let's talk to us, the city, and find ways that we can help our own residents, because once these large companies come in, Santee Cooper or whoever, we don't have a say as to how high the rates can go. So 17% now, but you may be in for a bigger surprise.
Now, one thing that came up a couple of weeks ago, you held an executive session, came out and voted to approve the hiring of an outside law firm. We didn't know what that was for until a couple of days ago. Found out that's because of PFAs in the water, possibly. The EPA is, I guess, tightened their standards, and now municipalities across the country are having to look at this. Is this going to be a big issue for the city? I mean, what do you think? Is this something we should be worried about? Is our water safe?
I'm confident that we'll be able to handle it, and I don't have a lot of information about that situation, but I'm more than confident in what we have set aside to proceed in this process.
But do you think our water is safe right now?
For me, I would say yes, because we haven't had any studies done per se. And so once studies are done and further analysis are done, then we'll be able to come back and address that issue.
And how about you? What do you think about that whole situation?
I think our water system is good, and we have matter of fact, when they come in, we had the man from the water department sitting with us and everything, listen to everything they had to say. But this is like a class act. That's all this is, a class act suit. They're going from different places. Places got chemical plants, and they check the water and stuff. And then if we have this problem, this would be a good thing for us, because we could get a treatment plant and solve the problem. But the understanding that we get so far, and this, like Tamika said, we don't have all the detail, but when we get so far, it's not like it's life-threatening.
Let me ask you about something that came up at public comment last week, and that is about the agendas for City Council. It was said that there's rarely anything on the agendas about Georgetown's West End. Everything's historic district or High Market Street, whatever, but not a lot about the West End. Do you agree with that? That there's not much on the agendas for the West End?
From the proof is there. There's not. But again, the mayor actually makes the final decision on what goes on the agenda. So what's been presented to her, I believe she does have the final say. So it may need to be a more in-depth conversation with her to see what's been presented from the West End, if there's any particular topics that need to be addressed.
How about, do you think that there needs to be more?
Well, always room for more. But the thing is, we're not talking the West End only. We don't see nothing on for Mayville. We don't see nothing on there for on the outside of Freedom Street. But everything always on Front Street.
Historic district.
Okay, historic district. Matter of fact, even Willerbank got a bigger problem in the city Nobel for years, and they ain't do nothing for that. So we're not targeting the West End. Our job is to target any area in the city that needs help, and that's our job to help the citizens of Georgetown. Not only the West End, but the thing about it, the problem we got now, that everything, the pie, over 3/4 pie, come Front Street and certain parts of Fraser Street. The other quarter pie, you got to share out West End, Mayville, Willerbank area. You got to share that 1/4. You think that's fair? And that's why I said at the beginning, they don't believe in doing fair. That's the problem I got with the people we got out there now. They're selfish.
What can be done to improve that?
What can be done? People need to get out there and re-elect these 3 candidates you got now, and pray and hope that we can't stop them now, but we can slow them down. In 2 more years, you can have 4 of them up, and we could get the majority back on board, and then and let the majority work for the people, and that's what could be done. But the key is right now, people's got to get out there and get these candidates in the seat.
Now you're saying vote for the 3 Democrats.
Right now.
There are 3 seats open.
The 3 seats open now.
You're asking people to vote for the 3 Democrats. Your opponents are asking people to vote for 2 people,
right,
and then not a 3rd person. What do you think about that strategy?
Well, because they got 2 people running.
Right, but what do you think about that strategy saying, hey, don't vote for a 3rd person?
Well, they think, the reason why they say that, because they figure if that 3rd person, they vote for 3 people, they call them one of us. Gonna be might get a chance to knock them 2 people out. The math speak for yourself. All they're doing is they play with numbers.
But if there were only 2 Democrats and 3 Republicans running, would you do a campaign like that? Vote for 2 and go home?
For me, I wouldn't. The law allows you to vote for 3, so for me, I would vote for 3. That's the law, and I don't see the reason. I think that we're all viable candidates, so if you have, I just think you should vote for 3.
Yeah. Now, Mr. Smalls couldn't be here today, but you are all 3 kind of running together. Why should people vote for the 3 of you? Why are you running together as a pack?
We represent 3 different generations. So I'm 48, soon to be. Mr. Milton is of a certain age. Mr. Smalls is a certain age. And so we have 3 generations that we represent. And so we're in touch with our community on a daily basis. Whether it's Mr. Smalls and his profession, what he does, Mr. Milton is always out in the community, and you know what I do. So I think that you get the best of 3 when you vote for us. We have just different experiences with the community, and our work speaks for itself. So whether it's civically, in the political realm, or in the business sector, the 3 of us, we pretty much ran the whole spectrum of what it means to be a community advocate, an elected official. We represent that very well.
Now, I'm not going to ask you this question because you haven't been on council long enough.
Sure.
You can answer it if you want to.
Sure.
But you've been on council almost 4 years. What would you say you have accomplished in that past 4 years?
Well, the record speaks for itself, Scott. Well, number one, remember when I first come on board, I fight to get the sand machine. Because they ain't had no, when a storm come, people had to go there use shoveling with no. I fight that we get that bag machine. Okay, now then we also, what we did, we also get, people couldn't go fishing down there, East Bay Park. They complained, but the people couldn't fish down there. Then we fight, that we get the East, a place for people, the public to go fishing down the East Bay Park. Then, as we speak now, you go on Black River Road, the park on Blackberry Road, the little kids them could go out there and play basketball, and they got a bathroom, a restroom, not a bathroom, a restroom out there being put out there as we speak right now. And then later on, money supposed to be in the budget, really gonna do the park, the basketball court and everything. So we have done some work, but we got a lot more work to do. And then another thing we done, we also fight to get the clean street. They did when I first come on board, we get with the county and we ride the county around the West End, Mayville, and their rails, and that's how we come up with the clean street. So we did all that in the 4 years. Although we would come through COVID-19, so a little time we did, I think we accomplished a lot, but we got a lot more to do.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, your first few months on council, I mean, what are you most proud of?
You know, I think I coin myself as being the conscious of council. And so holding folks accountable. And so letting them understand that we have residents that are really underserved, that there is a demographic that really needs assistance, and that, you know, I think sometimes they're overlooked. I know they're overlooked. So there is a disconnection. There's a tale of two cities. And so for me, I'm very adamant about addressing that. And I'm holding folks accountable and letting them see just where we are. It's just not the historic district that needs to be represented. And folks, you know, I love the historic district, but also I want you to take a look at Winyall Street, Emmanuel Street, you know, Gilbert Avenue. So there are other things that are going on that need to be addressed. And so I like to build bridges. Well, I'm going to build bridges and break barriers. And so that's with communication and active listening. The mayor has done I guess, an initiated community connections, which is a great idea. But when you really want to look at that situation, because when you have residents that are going at the Mitney building saying we don't know about these meetings, or folks can't come to them, and the same sentiment is having been said at the Winyall auditorium, then that's something where you want to pay attention. I don't want to be someone who just checks off a box to say that we've done this, we've done that. It needs to be impactful. So if we're going to have these meetings with community members, let's look at why they're not coming out. And if the same sentiment is saying it's too early, we can't make it there, then let's try to address that. Maybe push it back until 6. You know, I don't think the city officials or city employees would have an issue with staying a little bit later from one time out the month versus having meetings at 5 o'clock when folks can't attend or 5:30. So really practice active listening to our residents and focusing on how we can address current needs and long-term needs as well.
You brought up something that we hear quite a bit at city council and other places is one reason people aren't involved is because they say they don't know things are happening.
Exactly.
How can residents become more informed? What can the city do to be a better informer? I guess is what I'm
That's a
asking.
situation where we have a PIO officer, Miss Cindy Thompson. She's wonderful, but I think that when you have a town such as Georgetown, we're not so large, where we pretty much know everyone. We have a lot of community events going on. I would hope that she would engage more with nonprofits and just other organizations, whether it's weekend events, and also engage with the ministers, engage with the Hispanic community, find out what's going on. There's something going on in the city every weekend, and so although folks aren't on social media, not everyone's on social media, you may go back to the old-fashioned way, send an announcement in the church. So there are ways. I just can't accept social media as the only way of communication. We have to go above and beyond. And that may look like meeting with business owners and stakeholders and saying, hey, you know, can we get some suggestions? Or, you know, leaders within the nonprofit sector also, because that's been a current statement that we don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Now, I noticed when the city sent out the notice about the upcoming night out the police department is doing next week. Mm-hmm. They sent out one in English and they sent one out in Spanish.
Wonderful.
Which is not something normal that they do.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think anytime they send out any kind of announcement that it should be in both English and Spanish?
Anytime. That to me is a no-brainer. We have a population here, a wonderful Hispanic community, and I'm sure they want to be included. They should be included. Mm-hmm. They're here.
Now, how about when they put announcements on the city's radio station? Should somebody also put that in Spanish as well?
It would be nice. It would be really nice.
Mm-hmm. Now, what do you think? I mean, how do you think the communications and information between the city and the residents can be improved?
Well, just like Tamika say, everything Tamika said, I agree with everything she said, and how we should do it and all. And again, Scott, my thing is, what happened, why the people don't come out, for one reason, because the people being lied to for so many years. They were promised this and that for so many years. We as politicians need to start being human beings and start thinking like a human being and treating people like a human being and quit lying to them and promising something we can't deliver. I would never tell y'all that I could do this, that I could do that, because I can't do it by myself. You need the majority. You see what's going on now. When they come to meeting, they have their meeting, they're full vote ready. I don't care what we talk about, they're ready to go. So, but in other words, we as the people got to get together as the people, white, black, Spanish, anybody. And we got to quit separating white and black and start thinking like people.
Yeah, I think Mr. Milton is, I think people are just frustrated. So you have a barrier, you have a psychological barrier, you have an emotional barrier, and they're frustrated. So these are barriers that we have to continuously break with better communication, showing empathy. Although the city is a business, we still have to have that human aspect. And so that's being the conscience of council, holding folks accountable, and just saying, hey, do you understand? I think that's a great part of it.
Let me ask you about sidewalks. What areas need sidewalks? The one I'm thinking about in particular is Reservoir Street between High Market and the high school. I mean, you've got kids that leave school and they have to walk in the road. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised kids aren't hit, because why is there not a sidewalk there? People have been asking for it for many, many years. I mean, is that something if you're re-elected that you'll fight to get?
I would.
Well, Scott, I'm 65 years old. Mm-hmm. I've been here with sidewalk ever since I was a little boy. And you're right, we were here with sidewalk most all our life. And they come in and they throw one, two hand. But I'm going to tell you, let me say this. The problem with the city of Georgetown, we are the third historic city in the state of South Carolina. We rank number 3. The governor has so much grant money for historic cities. They want us to stay afloat. But our biggest problem is when I first come in Congress, that's what I fight for. I keep telling them we need to get a grant writer. If we get a grant writer on board, and that grant writer don't do nothing but write grant early, don't wait till all the money go and then all of a sudden we got to wait and we can't get no money. If we would hire somebody as a grant writer and we could get some money for the city of Georgia, that take the burden off the citizen. We put all the burden on the citizen and we could get the money. But let me tell you the problem is. The problem is that if you notice, when a lot of grant be right, when you got a Democrat president, that's when the money out there. But then when you got Republican leaders, they ain't want to put in for no money because they ain't want to say they get the money from a Democrat. And when the Republicans out there, they ain't give up no money. So our problem is we got to quit being so selfish and start looking at the needs of the people in your town and hire somebody. Every time the mayor them call now, we get a grant from so and so and so and so. They ain't but think with no grant. That come up here and I start pushing by grant. And every time they get a grant, we think so and so for a grant. And we think we should be thinking them ahead of time. Take the burden off the people, apply for these grants, hire a grant writer. It'll pay for yourself. Mm-hmm. I guarantee you. In the long run. So that's the thing we need to do.
Mr. Milton did address this during our budget meeting at the beginning of the year. We all did. And we were told that there wasn't any money in the budget. And so, but we all talked about having the importance of a grant writer. And so I strongly believe that once we're reelected, that will be one of our top priorities to do research and find ways to get a grant writer here.
But if there's no money for getting a grant writer, how do they get money to pay Guatemala Regional to write grants?
That's good question. My thing is, they always say we ain't got no money when something they don't want to do. Anytime you want to do something, you find money.
But Guatemala Regional is paid pretty good to write grants.
But we stay spending money. We stay high extra people to do this, extra people to do this, but we ain't behind the right person. A grant writer will make us money and pay your salary.
The problem with hiring Waccamaw Regional to do it is they do it for a lot of places. So, you know, you're in line to get them, grant written for you. If you had your own, they would be focused just on the city's grants.
That's what
So
I'm talking about.
why not take the money given to Waccamaw Regional and give it to a person
That's
for
what
the
I'm
city?
talking about. That's one, and this like Tamika said, if we get reelected, that's one of our main goals. But then we only pray and hope that one of them heart would be softened to do the right thing. Cause if me and Mika and Mr. Smalls, we fight to do the right thing, and we gonna do the right thing, then if one of their heart softened enough to come on board, just to do the right thing, this one time, please ma'am, please sir, when y'all hear this, I hope to see y'all can do that for us. Thank you. Not for us, but for the people, the citizens of Georgetown. Thank you.
I believe that somebody will have like minds, and this isn't Republican or Democrat. This is common sense. This is common sense, and it will benefit the residents. So we have to find a way. We have to find a way to get that.
Let me ask you about the port. Of course, you know, it belongs to the county now. The state gave it to the county. But it's sort of in the city. I mean, it's surrounded by city limits. What role is the city going to play in deciding what happens with that property?
Well, the funny thing, Scott, the understanding I get when they first talked about that, we had a meeting, and they said, well, the port, the city, the county gonna get the port, and then the port gonna turn over to the city. And I tell them this like this, I said, does that make sense to y'all? Y'all think the county gonna get the port and gonna turn something over to the city, we're gonna be making money. That don't make no sense. I don't think we're gonna play no part in it, because number one, that property in the county limit. So the county, why the county, they might play a little game with us, but the county, we gonna have no say so at all. What that?
But do you think that you should, since it looks like it's in the city if you look at but it's not. I mean,
but if you look at International Paper Company, it look like it's in the city, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? So in other words, it just look like in the city, but that's the county, and the county ain't gonna give that property up, especially to the city.
let me ask you about residents and their role that they can play. You know, as city council or as the mayor, you can only do so much to make the city a better place. What can residents do to help make the city a better place?
Be active, stay informed, know what's going on, come to the meetings, not just when it's a hot topic, but because we have faithful residents who come to every city council meeting, but we need more. We need you to stand up for what's right, but I would just really say stay informed. The city webpage, know what's going on, so we're all accessible. I know Mr. Milton is very much accessible to the people in the community. So am I, Mr. Small. So ask. You know, if you see one of us out in the community, feel free, have a conversation. We try to acknowledge and do our best, but of course, we don't know everybody in the city. But that's what we're here for. We're here to serve you. So, but I would just say have a better relationship. So I think that the three of us, have great relationships. But residents, if they have a question, feel free to ask. Come to the meetings. You know, we're here to work for you. And they're doing the best that they can. They work full-time jobs and they have families. And so sometimes they can't make it to every meeting. But if I see them in the grocery store and they have a question, I may not know the answer, but I'll do research, and I think I can speak for, I think not speak, but I feel that Mr. Milton Smalls will have that same sentiment exactly.
And how do you think residents can help make it a better place?
Well, I think if the city, the citizens do what they do, pay the taxes, pay the light bill, and keep doing what they're doing, and get involved. And like some things that we can say, if they just come out and let us know how we can serve them better, and we as a whole, all us, and once we start serving the people and giving the fair share. I think everybody see how the city gonna come together as a whole and people start working together. Right now, they don't have a reason to come together. They don't have a reason to try to work because they hurt. Not only physical, spiritual, finance. They is hurting. So how can you expect them to do this and do that, and they're hurting people? We gotta find a way to take the hurt of the people.
Now you both.
Our job. That's our job. That's our job.
Now you both say that people should show up at city council meetings and ask questions and be heard, but one reason they don't is because if it's not an agenda item, they have to wait, till the end of the meeting, which sometimes is 30 minutes, sometimes it's 2 hours. What do you think about it? The way the public comments are right now?
Well, Scott, correction, it's not just city council meetings, it's planning commission, it's zoning boards, it's any city meetings. So, city council is one aspect, but there's so many other entities within the city of Georgetown. So what I'm saying and what I'm asking is to just be informed. So whether you're coming to a BZA meeting, whether you're coming to, arts and cultural or whatever they're doing, you need to be informed of what's going on within the city. So with that situation, I think folks will still speak. They'll still speak. Whether, it's a touchy subject, but I'm confident in the residents. If they have something to say and it's important, it'll be stated.
How do you feel about it being the end of the...
It's not a tough subject with me, because I think we should go back to what we were doing before. Because let me tell you something, Scott. We go to Columbia and we go to all these classes and stuff in Columbia, and one thing they taught us, they said, when people, somebody knock off from work, go home, they got them kids, they got to take care of the kids and whatnot, then now they're going to come to City Hall, they got a complaint. Now they got some of them that go home and cook and all, and then when they come, then we got them, listen, we got 2 minutes, you give them 2 or 3 minutes to talk, and then now you will make them wait that 2 hours to get, our job is to serve the people. We should be able, anytime you scared to hear a complaint from a person, something wrong. Our job is to sit there. That's why we ask for the seat. We ask the people vote us. But we ain't got the time, then we ain't got the right serving. So I can sit there and listen to the people. After the people, then I hear the people, then we can handle the city business. But my job is to listen to your cry. But if I'm ashamed or I'm scared of your cry because you might say something I don't like, then I got a problem with that. And that's what the problem going on. So yes, to answer your question, I think we need to go back again. If we get one of them to soften their heart, that can always come back up. Because we always remember, we are the lawmaker and the law changes. We make the law and we change the law. We can mix something, we can go on something today, and tomorrow we come back and go on something tomorrow. So that what they got now, that can be changed.
Yeah,
but then we as the people got to do that. We as the council member got to do that.
Yeah, I think as a council member, the way that it was presented to me, there was some misunderstanding on my part. And so I had a community resident, Mr. Wesley Gibson, to pull me to the side, which, that's fine, because I always say, hold me accountable. And he pretty much just said, hey, X, Y, and Z, Tamika, did you not understand? And so we had a pretty good conversation about it. And so I think that we should go back and readdress it.
So anything that I did not think to ask that you want people to know?
Yeah, you can talk about voting, early election.
Yep.
That's why we're here.
Okay.
So, early voting starts October 23rd. That is 26 days away. There's some important dates that I want the residents to know. If you're not registered by October 6th, or if you haven't voted since November of 2018, you could be possibly inactive. So you want to make sure that you go down to Grove Elections and check your status. Take somebody to the poll when you go on October 23rd. Don't just come alone. There are a lot of folks who may want to vote and not really have a ride or what have you. That's not a problem. So show up early, and don't come alone, and vote for 3. That's what I would say.
Well, I'm gonna say this, like Tamika said, right now, I'm gonna do like the Republicans. They tell you vote for 2. I'm saying vote for 3. Great Democrat. Because right now, we're in a crucial need of these 3 seats. And then think about it, it's not me for me personal, or for the Miko or Syrup. It's for the people. It's how crucial these seats is right now. Because if we don't, I'm telling you, the people gonna think they're hurting now, they're really gonna be hurting. Because you got some people up there could pay their light bill, they probably don't know how much their light bill is. So it don't bother them. But my thing is now that we need y'all to come out and vote. And please, ma'am, please, sir, quit Democrat.
And I wouldn't be doing my job, let's end it on a little light note here. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask, what's the deal between you and Jonathan Ankner? You guys love to get into it at city council meetings, but I know you're good friends.
Let's go.
So yeah, what's that all about?
Me personal, I don't have nothing against Jonathan. I think he could probably be a pretty good guy. But when it comes down to certain issue, we just don't see eye to eye. But that don't make him a less man than me. We could handle a situation and head on. But at the end of the day, it's over with me.
Yeah, because people who just see the meetings online and don't see what happens when the cameras shut off, they don't see that, you guys walk out shaking hands and, that you're actually pretty good friends.
We're pretty good friends, but the only time I see Jonathan, I'm going to tell you, the only time I see Jonathan did a meeting. Mm-hmm. Outside that, I don't socialize, we don't have a socialized friendship.
Yeah, but when you walk out the meeting, you're joking and you're not mad at each other. You're cordial. Yeah.
Just like I tell you, because once I say something, when I say things, because I don't say it just for show or fashion. I be screwed up. Mm-hmm. And I go, and that's where some people can't take it. But if you know, I tell them, just like you say, after the meeting, hey, ain't no problem. I see you next go round. Because if the issue come up, it will be a next go round. Because I'm going to fight. I'm definitely going to fight. So if anybody, I'm going to fight. Because I fight for the right thing. And the thing about it, you got one that fighting for the right thing, the other one fighting just to be fighting. I fight for the right thing. I don't start no argument with Jonathan or nothing. But when he come off the wrong way, my job is to make sure that I try to keep him in the right direction. Where we trying to go.
There you go.
We're just all here to serve. We're here to serve, whether it's the West End, Willowbank, whether it's the historic district. We're here to serve all of Georgetown. All of Georgetown. We're committed to it. We're dedicated. And we're ready to work. Continue the work. It hasn't stopped. So it doesn't stop. So 24/7, we think about the issues that's affecting our residents. And so, you're getting a great deal. We have 3 generations again that are representing the city of Georgetown, and I think that I know that we'll do more excellent things within the city.